Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my line mate Matt with me. Today we're going to go over some Blackhawks news. We're going to talk some Jeremy Roenick because we didn't really get a chance to talk much about it last time. But man, we are so happy about this guy making it to the Hall of Fame. Me and Matt, we both grew up with him really being like kind of the centerpiece of the Blackhawks at the time. You know, I think I was like 9 or 10 years old. But Matt, I know Eddie the Eagle was your guy, man. But at the same time, during that Hawk team when they had Chelly, Gary Suter, Jeremy Roenick, Tony Imani, Eric Weinrich, like Keith Carney, the Eagle, it was kind of like another squad, kind of like how we had Taser and Hoss and Kaner and all of these guys. They had like their own crew back then. Sadly, it got broken up because of money. Dude, how big of an influence on hockey and on yourself was Jeremy Roenick?
Oh, dude, everybody wanted to wear number 27. Everybody wanted to be 27 in the street. Like we'd play Hawks versus Red Wings, and I'm JR. No, I'm JR. I'm Chelly, and those were the guys, man. It was like you said, Imani, Roenick, Chelly, Belfour. Man, there were so many. Even the early days of Roenick's career: Dirk Graham, Larmer, Michel Goulet, Hal Secord. I said Dirk Graham, I think, but that was his first captain, I think. Yeah. And, he played with a good aging core, and then he kind of was the man, and then they brought in pieces around him. And I just think if they would have kept him, we would have probably competed for a Stanley Cup, at least been in the final at least one more time with that core.
Yeah, I agree, man. You know what? But the problem was it was Detroit and Colorado, man. The road to the Cup went through Detroit and Colorado. And then more than likely, you'd probably have New Jersey waiting for you after that. I honestly think the Hawks could have beat New Jersey, but Colorado and Detroit, man, they were just so formidable.
Yeah, even Dallas at the end. I know Eddie ended up going there and getting them their first cup, but Dallas was an up-and-coming squad, too, and it's almost like Belfour and Joe Nieuwendyk and, what's his name?
Mike Modano.
Brett Hall were like the missing pieces to a Mike Modano core already, like Yuri Lettinen.
Right.
All those guys. There were so many good guys, but, yeah, I think we did face Colorado when we did have Roenick towards the end.
Yeah.
And it was ugly. Yeah, it was
Western
ugly.
Conference Finals. I think we won one game.
Yeah.
Same with Detroit, man.
Detroit too, yeah. They're an all-star team. You have
Shanahan, Eisman,
four lines
Fedorov.
of first-round guys, yeah. You got you had Lindstrom at the back end, and it was either Mike Vernon or Osgood in net, and it didn't matter. The team was just so good. The Russian five, and they were just built different, and it would have been tough, but I think if you got a chance to keep Roenick, Chelly, Imani, and Eddie and net, I'd like the Hawks' chances. I think they could probably make an upset at least one year, and you never know. But it came down to money, and they started moving. I guess you could say Roenick was the first guy to go, and that was it. The dominoes pretty much fell.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Blackhawks in 1988. First round, 8th overall. Can you believe he was the 8th overall pick? 19 years old. He played 20 games and registered 18 points, 9 goals, and 9 assists. In the 89-90 season, he played 78 games, scored 26 goals, recorded 40 assists. So, and at the time, scoring 26 goals, that was kind of like the low range in a lot of ways. There was a lot of 50-goal scorers back then. And so it was like, okay, he's up and coming. He played with an edge, and he was still young. And each year he would set new career highs for both goals and assists. 91-92 set the milestone. Scored 53 goals and 53 assists. Man, he hit that 100 plateau. And a lot of those goals he scored, man, it was driving to the net. He had some good shots, but a lot of them were from him driving to the net, and he was just such a hard-nosed player. Hard to believe that with his size that he used the body so much.
Well, Mike Keenan told him, kid, if you don't play physical, you will not make it in this league. And Roenick says it to this day. Mike Keenan pretty much saved his career. He played with the edge, and yeah, he would go drive the net. He would get an ugly rebound goal, or he'd walk right by you with a good deke. And that's what made him a great special player.
Yeah, and at the time, man, there weren't many guys that were doing that. Either you were physical or you were a skill guy. And there really wasn't too many dudes that were doing both. I would think. Are there any other than Shanahan maybe? But Shanahan wasn't really fast. He just had a really great shot. He had good hands. He was a great passer, but he also had a hell of a shot, man. And yeah, I was just thinking of Shanahan, man, dude. He was like quietly a superstar on Detroit.
Yeah. I hated him, but there's no question he was a stud.
Yeah,
and he hit the 600 goal mark. I think when he played with the Rangers later in his career, him and Yager were on the same line. That's how
can you believe that?
Was. Yeah, 2 600 goal scorers playing together, but he used to kill the Hawks, man. He killed the Hawks, and
yeah,
I hated him until the day he retired. It's just like, oh my god, this guy's on the score sheet freaking again. He just Stevie Y. I can't say anything bad about that guy. He's such a good player, good captain. I watched this cool video about him. That I think the last year they won the Cup, he was playing with one knee. His one knee was shot. And they're showing him every game going down to block a shot, making a good clearing attempt, penalty killing, scoring clutch goals. It's like unbelievable. And that's how you want, your captain to play. And that's why I can't say anything bad about him. The guy played with tons of heart.
I think at one point it was Shanahan at left wing, Yzerman at center, and Fedorov playing right wing when they didn't have him playing second line center. Isn't that nuts?
That's insane. Yeah,
that's what they had. That's what
awesome too.
That's what Roenick had to go up against. Man, he had 3 seasons, hit 100 points. I think 3 seasons in a row. Man, he hit 50 goals 2 years in a row, right?
Back to back, yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. 2 years in a row.
Yeah, 50, and then I think he got 53 or something like that. But he's the last Hawk to do it, man. No Hawk has come close. I think Kaner might have got 40 one season, or no, it was DeBrincat, I believe.
Kaner had 40 a couple seasons.
So yeah, no Hawk has hit 40 since JR.
50.
That's how crazy it's been. Yeah, 50. I'm sorry, and I think Kaner was the last one to get 100 points.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Hard to believe, man, that, when they brought Tony Amani in, Tony Amani and JR, they played together in Boston in high school.
Thayer Academy. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were, they were really good friends. And it was, such a great storyline when Amani came onto the team, because a lot of times when it's kind of hard to talk about Jeremy Roenick without mentioning Tony Amani and how big of a, presence Amani has been in his life. And
we got cheated, man. We got cheated. Yeah. There should have been at least another 5 years of those guys, and there was only, I think, 2. And it was heartbreaking. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. They're good best friends till this day, I think.
Yeah. I think Roenick was going after him one game.
Yeah, that's a good story. We should talk about that. Yeah.
Because believe it or not, Shamnov was telling Amani, like, hey, I think Roenick's coming after you. And it turns out, later on down the line, Amani was hurt. He was like, I can't believe that he would do something like that to me.
Yeah, it almost ruined their friendship.
Right. And it turned out that Roenick
was like, hey, keep your head up, dude. He's gunning for you. Every shift he's on you like a shark.
Yeah.
And I think he got him up high with a stick. And I think Roenick got kicked out of the game for that. And Tony, he's like, I was just so set back, and he called him and said he's having problems off the ice, and it's almost like kind of like, why me then? I'm your friend, but it's just one of those things. It's hockey sometimes. It's real emotional out there.
Yeah, like you couldn't go after like Scott Stevens or somebody.
Oh, he's not that dumb. He wouldn't do that.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, Roenick gets traded. Amani becomes essentially the face of the Blackhawks, and the rest is really history. Roenick goes to Phoenix. How long was he at Phoenix?
5 years. So the whole thing why Roenick left was because this is from him. from me listening to him on podcasts, and I think I did read it in his book, he wanted $4 million a year. He was at like 3.5 now, and he wanted to raise. He said, hey, I just scored 50 goals back-to-back 100-point seasons. Eric Lindros just gets drafted. His first season, not even playing a game in the NHL, he's at 3.9. I asked for 4. I wanted a $400,000 raise. And Wirtz didn't give it to him. He said, I want $4 million for 5 years. Let's make it another 5 years. I love Chicago. I love the Blackhawks. Fans love me. It's mutual, you know. Wirtz said no, and, you know, he ended up moving to Phoenix for Jamnov. And
Crazy.
It was ugly, man. It was an ugly divorce, or as Wirtz said, like, you know, Roenick thought he was the man here. He was like the Michael Jordan of the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's tough to say, but if you look
he was
back,
playing golf with Michael Jordan.
He was like he was the man. He's your 50 goal guy. He's your sniper. And he's good personality, and you know, and
selling jerseys.
Wirtz didn't like it. Wirtz wanted the power, and you know, he moved him. And it was probably will go down as one of the top worst trades in Hawks history. You let a 50 goal guy go. You know, nothing against Jamnov. I liked Alexei Jamnov. I thought he was a good player, but he's just going to be known as the guy who replaced Roenick, and that's very hard to do. So yeah. He ended up going to Phoenix, and he got what he wanted. He got his $4 million for 5 years, I believe he spent there, and you know, the Coyotes got their superstar, and they got the guy to play with.
Well, they had Tkachuk at the time.
Well, yeah, but then they got him some help.
Yeah.
And, you know, Roenick's a personality, and he I'm sure he brought fans to that building.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it wasn't the only thing I remember about him was him getting his jaw pretty much reconstructed by Darian Hatcher that one playoff year. And Roenick, the warrior he is, he's sitting on the bench. Actually, he's not even sitting. He's standing, leaning on the bench, pulling his tooth, and it's separated. His jawline is broke. He's bleeding everywhere, and he doesn't even leave. He goes on the ice. He's like, he said this. He's like, it's a 5-on-3. I wanted to score, and I wanted to pretty much MF the whole crowd because I wanted to show them it did not bother me, but I couldn't score, and it bothered me, and I ended up going to the hospital and getting my jaw reconstructed, and it's like titanium now. They said he's got like a titanium. He's like the Terminator. So that's how crazy. I mean, the guy's he's a warrior. There's not too many guys that would, you know, stay on the ice and, hey, I'm scoring. You can look at me after. I want to score. I want to finish this power play.
He didn't miss a game though, did he?
I don't know if he missed. I know it was the playoffs. I think it was the first round against Dallas. And
he was wearing a face mask. I remember that.
Darian Hatcher should have been suspended for today. That would be like a 25-game suspension. I don't know. I know he got a misconduct. I don't know about a suspension though, but that was a vicious, nasty hit to the face. And I couldn't believe Roenick got up. That just amazes me. Like a guy today at that full speed with that size, I think the dude would have died. That's how bad it is. So the guy's a warrior.
So Roenick's in Phoenix, and then he gets traded to Philadelphia. So he's playing in Philadelphia. Eric Lindros is out there, like Rod Brindamore. I think Mikkel Renberg is still on the team.
Oh yeah,
John LeClaire is scoring.
Right? Yeah.
John LeClaire is scoring 50 goals a season. You know, and he's out there, man, and he's on the team. And then what happens? Tony Imani gets traded to Philadelphia, and they're playing in Philadelphia together. And Alexei Jamnov gets traded to
that is so crazy.
Philadelphia. Yeah, isn't that crazy? That
is crazy. The Blackhawk down line. I remember that.
Yeah,
they were effective.
Yeah,
they were very good. They put Toronto away in the Eastern Conference Final. Or I'm sorry, to get to the Eastern Conference Final. To beat Tampa. But they scored on who else? Eddie Belfour, another former teammate. Crazy. Hockey, it's just a crazy world, man.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. I remember watching them on ESPN2, seeing them skating around Imani and Roenick, and I'm like, man, I wish I could watch every Flyers game just so I could see these two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, It's crazy. I mean, it's like you wish, like, oh man, I wish they had that Hawks jersey on still at this age, this time. But it was cool. They still looked good in it. Even Eddie Belfour looked good in that Leafs jersey. As painful it is to say, he looked good. And it's too bad. I really wanted to see Roenick and Amani both get cups.
Me too.
They didn't get them. I'm happy Eddie got it. I don't think Jamnov got one.
No, he didn't.
But dude, not a bad player. Roenick and Amani both still rave about him. He's a very intelligent, smart player, good leader, and he just never got that love.
Yeah. Roenick was 11th on the Blackhawks all-time list with 596 points. Man, he could have. It could have been not number one, but
he would have been for that 5 years. If he got that 5-year deal, I don't know, man. He was hitting 40 easy.
Yeah,
every
he was.
Season. And then once he went to Phoenix, the numbers were still good, but he didn't have that system and the supporting cast like he did in Chicago. So you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Man, it's what could have been. It's like it's hard not to think about it.
Even when Dallas won in '99 and Belfour hoisted it, it's just like, God damn it. He got us to the final in '91, Roenick, or Belfour in net. And he even said he was just immature and inexperienced. And it's funny how 8 years later, he's, hoisting the cup and he's like a beast against Dominik Hasek, another former Hawk.
Yeah, and he was his backup, ironically.
And Hasek was like the guy, this is the new goalie he's our new face of the NHL. And Belfour's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm still here. And he did outplay him. Belfour outplayed him, and he had better numbers than him. And there's nothing against Dominik Hasek. The dude was super entertaining to watch. I always say my mom would take me to goalie camps and stuff, and she's like, why don't you play like Dominik Hasek? I'm like, because I'm not built like a slinky. I can't. It's unbelievable how the guy is. And she's like, well, you should watch him. I'm like, Ma, he's got no technique. He just does whatever it takes. And I wanted to model my game after Belfour, and I wanted to stand like him, hold my glove like him, butterfly like him, and everything. And that's the guy I modeled my game after. But nothing against Hasek at all. The dude, whatever it took, and
he was just instinctual.
Great, unbelievable. It's like, you look, how the hell did he stop that puck with his head looking straight in the air? He'd put his glove over. You know what I mean? It's just he just knew he was in the heads of the shooters, and he's like, well, if I'm a shooter, this is where I would go, and he'd put his glove there. He'd put his paddle down. Unbelievable. Yeah,
it truly is, man. So Roenick's numbers were pretty solid for Chicago, going through Arizona, and then Philadelphia, and then he went to LA, and his numbers started to go down. But
it was a disaster.
LA was a disaster. But he brought what they needed, some star power. I mean, there's videos of him kind of dancing and stuff when he's in LA, and
I remember.
That was his personality. He was a guy that played for the crowd, and man,
Kings
you don't have many guys like him.
Yeah, they hate him. They thought he was going to be like Blackhawk Roenick, which is like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
I know he played on the team. I think Dustin Brown and Kopitar were like rookies. And I mean, they're not going to be like the prime guys that we've seen. When they're winning cups. So it takes time, and you need that's kind of what the Hawks are going through now. It's like we got that Nick Foligno's and stuff, and they were once good 25, 30 goal scorers, but they're not that guy anymore. They're just they're putting in their time, still could play, brings leadership, and that's what Roenick was for LA back then. And they wanted him to be something else, and it only lasted a year.
After that, Roenick went back to the Yotes. Gretzky was a coach at the time, but I didn't know that they had a lot of disagreements, man.
Yeah, so the famous story that I remember was Gretzky really wanted him to come back. He wanted him to, bring the star power back. JR, he's a superstar. He's a good personality. And he wanted the young guys to be mentored by a guy who, he knows how to score goals, just the NHL life. But, Gretzky started scratching him. And I think Roenick didn't like that. Roenick would leave the arena, go to a bar and watch the game. And people
Really?
were like, JR, what aren't you? Your team's playing. He's like, yeah, I got a healthy scratch. So he went to the bar, and someone saw him there, and it got back to management. Gretzky was really pissed off, and and I think it didn't last. You're not Gretzky versus Roenick. You're not. I'm sorry, JR. You got no chance. So that's what happened there. Roenick thought he should be an everyday guy, and maybe he's right, maybe he's not. I don't know, but in the end, Gretzky's he's the man there. He's making the decisions, and
he's the man everywhere.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out for JR. So I honestly thought that was it for him. I thought, I think he's done. I know he was chasing that 500 goals too, and he probably, with that attitude and that entitlement where he's like, I'm going to do what I want. Probably not a good move by him. He probably regrets it, but it is what it is. It happened. So he didn't, I think that was it for him after that.
Former team in Chicago, Doug Wilson, GM of the Sharks, called JR and said he wanted him to be on his team and needed him to mentor some younger players. He played 69 games and scored 14 goals and recording 19 assists for 33 points. For a 38-year-old, it's impressive. He also hit 500 goal plateau that season. Man.
Yeah.
Dougie Wilson.
Yeah, Roenick came back and said Dougie Wilson, that saved him. He rejuvenated him a little bit. He felt great. Loved playing with the young Joe Pavelski, the prime Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, David, what's his name, Setaguchi, Jonathan Chichu type guys. Remember that core? Evgeny Nabokov in net. They were a good team, man. They were a good team. They just, I think they traded for Brian Campbell that year too. Remember before we signed him? They made a big splash. They were going for it. And, they were asking a lot from JR. Hey, we want you to be our fourth line center. We want you to be that voice in the locker room. And Roenick still says he loves the Sharks. He got that chance with Dougie Wilson. Then he gets that 500 goals. That's huge, man. That's almost like a guaranteed you're going to make the Hall of Fame one day. I know it took a long time for JR, but that's almost like a given. You're in. And, they fell short, man. I think they made it to the second round and lost to Dallas, I think. The 1 year. And then, obviously, I think he played one more season after. It was kind of like, hey, he's 39. It's, his time's done. But I always say, we should bring him back for a year. We're the Hawks were young and up and coming, making the playoffs again. Let's get this guy on the fourth line. Not an everyday guy, But let's get him that ring, and dude, it would have been awesome 2010 to have him on that team. But he would have been around 40 years old. That's pretty old.
I mean, I would like to say I met JR once, and me and you, we went to Barnes and Noble.
Signing. Yeah.
To get his book signing, and I'm actually going to do a podcast on his book. He stood up and he said, "I'm not going anywhere until I sign everybody's books." And I was really impressed with that. And when I gave him my jersey to sign, he looked me in the eye. He shook my hand. He took a picture with me. He, had some quick chit chat. The line was so long, so I didn't want to take up too much time. But, he was a great guy, man, and the amount of time he took with us. And I'll never forget that.
He was awesome. I remember I brought my 1961 sweater, and I'm looking at it right now. A red home jersey with the old school Indian Head logo. And he goes, dude, where did you get that? I said, I probably got it online and it's probably made in China. He goes, who the hell cares? That is sweet. And he goes, this is the first one I'm signing like this. And I'm like, dude, I wish, he's like, dude, we got to get that number up at the United Center, 27. He goes, dude, I can't wait. I hope to God one day. I'm like, I wish he could have wrote Hall of Fame on it, because every star I run into now, they pride themselves on that. Denny Savard, Hall of Fame 2000, whatever. Eddie Belfour, Hall of Fame 2011. It's like
it's such a cool thing to write.
It is. It's like a big flex, and they earned it. It says JR 27 on it. It looks awesome, but I would love to have it JR Hall of Famer 2024. Isn't that crazy? Belfour 2011 and JR 2024 or even 2025. Like, why? I mean, even
know.
Shelley got in before. I mean, I'd love to see Amani get in, but I don't think his numbers are there. He's just a very good player, like Hall of Fame.
He was excellent, dude. It sucks.
6-time All-Star, no individual awards, so it's
well,
hard for him.
So let's make a case for. How about we do that on the next podcast? Let's make a case for Amani to make the Hall of Fame, especially if Paul Kariya made it.
Well, exactly. You got Paul Kariya and Eric Lindros and guys that are like head scratchers. Shea Weber, come on, man. How many? Sedins were good. Yeah, I get it. They're twins. It's cool, whatever. But they're in the Hall of Fame. Roberto Luongo's in the Hall of Fame. It's like,
how about Steve Larmer? We'll do one for him too.
Well, Steve Larmer is a huge head scratcher. I mean, the guy was an Iron Man. He played almost every single game.
Yeah,
at least
so did Amani.
28 should be at least retired by Chicago. I cannot believe it. Nothing against Hossa, but how does Hossa get his number retired before that guy? It's insane.
Well, probably because he won 3 cups.
Well, but Larmer was like, he was the man for like what, almost 15 years here.
No. I totally. Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from.
The forgotten generation.
Yeah, it is. It is. Hossa came in. He was the missing link.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he definitely deserves it. He does. He was the best free agent signing in Chicago sports history. Marian Hossa. He will go down as that, in my opinion.
Even you know what? I wouldn't say Chicago sports because Dennis Rodman was a huge one.
Sorry, Dennis Rodman, number 2.
Yeah, he was exactly what the Bulls needed. But I mean, I digress a little bit. So Roenick is going into the Hall of Fame. The Blackhawks have some number changes this year. Kevin Korchinski changed his number to 14. Craig Smith is 15. Joey Anderson 22. Alec Martinez 25. Laurent Brossoit 39. Jalen Lupin 43. Artem Leshinov is going to be 55, so he's taking Korchinski's number, Eric Daze's number.
Oh, I was going to say no Daze Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor or whatever they were going to call this bullshit.
They should. Yeah. Tyler Bertuzzi 59. I was really hoping he was going to go at 69.
69 would be hilarious.
Here's Eli Mikheyev 95, Paul Ludwinski 90, Gavin Hayes 92. Teuvo Teravainen, 86.
I like that.
TJ Brody, 78. Patrick Maroon, 77. Hope Doc isn't too heartbroken. And Lucas Reichel is going with 73, which means that they may have told him, like, hey, look, we're looking to retire Jeremy Roenick's number, and you got to pick another number, man.
True, but they made those weird guidelines last year where it doesn't matter if a current guy's wearing it. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
No. The guideline is that they could retire what number with 2 people. Okay. And so essentially Siebes is, because he's still actually technically on, I think he's still technically on Tampa Bay. Like, once he's able to retire, they're going to retire 7 with his name on it as well. And he is fully deserving of having his number retired. I'm fine with
numbers being shared. I am. I'm fine
too.
with that. But I'm not fine with a guy, nothing against Seth Jones, but
I wanted to get into that.
Yeah, Hammer. Hey, dude. Seth, can you please just add another 4? Patrick Poulin won't care. Patrick Poulin will not care. Hammer is getting his number retired. I wanted to get into that because we've talked about this before. And since they're doing this now, it kind of bugs me that Seth Jones has not, or someone has not told him, like, hey, man, that's Hammer's number, dude. You were here when they had the Hammer Remembrance Night. He wore number 4. He won 3 cups here, and he was integral in winning those 3 cups. They said he's the best defensive defenseman since the clutch and grab era. This was a Jay Fresh thing.
He did.
He said
that's right.
The best defensive defenseman of this time by these numbers, and he's absolutely right.
He was like at 100%.
Dude is a shot blocking machine. And he plays the position correctly. Mm-hmm. It's he's one dimensional, but that's what a defenseman should be first. And that's what he did so well.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 4 needs to be up in the rafters. I'm sorry. Who cares if it's a lot of numbers retired? Who cares?
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest times in Blackhawks history.
We've never seen anything like that.
Yes, you
ever.
have to retire it.
This was better than the Stan Mikita, Bobby Hull days. I'm sorry, old timers. It is. We won 3 Stanley Cups. We didn't make it to the finals and lose, and we weren't playing 5 other teams. We played 30 other teams, and we made it to 3 Stanley Cups, man. So,
yep, correct.
That's my little tirade on that. Roenick, I think his number is they're going to be retiring 27. They told Lucas Reichel he had to take it off. So
maybe, unless
I
Lucas wants to change it up. Lucas probably wants.
Okay.
There's superstitious. Right. There's superstitious guys like, hey,
sure.
I got to change something up. Some guy.
Why didn't he go at 72?
The bread man cuts his hair and looks like KGB. That's what he does. Some guys change their numbers. So that's how it is. I've only done it once. I used to be number 30 when I was a kid. I wore number 30 for obvious reasons, and number 30 gets traded, and then he wears 20. So that's when I changed my number to 20.
To 20.
Yes, I had to follow the eagle. I followed the eagle, but some guys, that's what they do. Maybe they said, hey, we're thinking about retiring this guy's number, and you might want to consider switching it up. Maybe Reichel's like, yeah, no problem, not a big deal at all. Or,
sure.
Hope maybe that was it, maybe not. But
it was
clearly
so
it's going to happen. It's got to happen.
It was so sick when Eddie went to San Jose and he was still wearing his Blackhawks pads and his Blackhawks helmet. It looked so good, dude, with that teal.
Yeah, the red.
He was like, I don't have time to change my fucking shit, man. I'm here to play.
Bullshit. I don't want to go to San Jose. I wanted to go to Dallas, because he ended up signing with Dallas the next year. Oh man, yeah, that was very interesting to see. It's like Niemi after we won the cup. He's practicing with the Sharks and Hawks in Hawks gear, and dude, he had some good years with the Sharks, really good years, and
he was a good goalie.
He was a good goalie. He just he couldn't. His agent screwed him, in my opinion.
He did.
Bowman gave him a 3-year, 7-year, $3 million, 7 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
And his agent's like, no, we can get more than that. And he didn't get nothing with the Sharks. I only think he got like a 3-year deal, and it didn't even last. And then he kind of jumped around a little bit, but
yeah, man,
it would have been great because he was solid at 2010, man.
He was.
Especially against the Sharks, the team he ended up going to. He shut them down. It was like him, Bufflin, and Niemi, man.
He was lights out.
They were lights out. Even Bolin just turned it up to another level. He's like, I'm just screwing with Joe Thornton's head this whole series, and that's what he did.
Which is really not necessarily a good idea.
No, he ends up sucker punching in the face like he did the Taves. Yeah. That was start of the concussion issues, probably, that dude.
Yeah.
But David Bolin's another guy, man.
A year after that.
Another guy, Davey Bolin, is another guy like, hey, this guy was pretty damn good, like a Troy Murray-like guy, and,
he won 3 cups.
3 cups? Or no, was it 2? I think he won with Boston against Boston.
No. Oh, wait, yeah, Boston was 2013.
The 3 cup guys are
Taves, you're right.
Taves, Kane, Sharp, Keith, Siebes. And I think
Hammer.
Bickle is and Hammer. And I think Bickle's considered a 3-time guy, but he hoisted 2 as a player,
right?
I think. So, yeah, that core, the main core would be Keith, Siebes, Hammer, Sharpie, Taves, Kaner.
And all of their numbers should be retired. So Hammer should have his number retired.
Well, here's another controversial thing. What did Patrick Sharp, what was his number?
10.
What was Amani's?
10.
Interesting. I've done tons of posts about this. Like, you look at the numbers, they're almost identical.
Right.
And it's crazy, man. It's like, hey, okay, we're going to put 10 up for Sharpie, but holy shit, we had a guy in the 90s, number 10 was a 6-time All-Star, and the only reason why people actually went to games, including myself.
Right.
It's like, we better consider this.
But and a former captain.
Former captain, fastest skater, best flow probably in the 90s, best accent, the Boston accent. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
But, oh, man. I dream one day we can get this guy on our podcast and just let Tony Amani tell us everything about the Blackhawks in the 90s. It'd be so entertaining.
I'd love to, like, just to get him comfortable. So he's like, hey, man, you could talk shit. You could, whatever you want, man. It's all good,
I love that podcast with him and
Cam and Strick.
Cam and Strick. He torches Mike Keenan. He's the
Yeah,
fucking
he
worst coach
did.
I've ever played for. That's how he did it. It was freaking hilarious. But then you hear guys like Belfour and Roenick. He was the best coach he ever. I mean, some guys just need a different style of coaching. Like get in my head and push me.
Yeah, but he talked mean shit to Amani,
he talked about his dad and stuff, and he's like, "You're a rich Boston kid" and stuff like that. And I mean, dude, Amani was good on that Ranger team. He was playing with Messier and what's his name? Jeez, I'm blanking. I forget. He's not. Messier and somebody else. Adam Graves. He was playing with those guys, and they were ripping it up. And Keenan's like, you're a fourth line guy on this team, and Amani's like, well, shit, look at my numbers. I think he scored like 33 goals his rookie season. I think it was something like that, but he signed right out of college and kind of just jumped right in with those guys. So he was a very good player. And I think the Rangers fans were like, yeah, we're moving our future to get like, Brian Noonan and Stefan Matteau or whatever. I think
Brian Noonan, Stefan Matteau, and Steve Larmer.
Those were Keenan guys like that made it to the final with the Blackhawks the year before. And he knows they're good playoff guys. And he hated Amani, man. It's insane. They sold out their future, though. Amani would have been a stud in New York.
40-goal scorer.
Man, him and Messier together for like another 5 years. Oof, man. I'm sure Messier was kind of pissed. I mean, obviously he's happy he won the cup. But, man, thinking about it, like, Adam Graves or Tony Amani? Like you're getting a younger guy who's faster, can get you the puck, and it's a tough one for me. I think I'd rather have Tony Amani younger.
Well, cool, man. Hey, everybody. That's all that we got for you today. I think what are we going to do next week or a couple weeks, Matt?
I don't know. We should,
are we going to do the case for Tony Amani?
I like the whole Amani debate with Sharpie, even the number retirement, Hall of Fame. I don't know. We gotta break it down. We'll have to break down the numbers.
Yeah, we're going to do that on the next one, and we'll take it from there. So if you guys want us to go over any old players that you like, or if you have anything to say about this podcast and some of the guys on this one, let me know what you think, especially about jersey retirements. So we'll catch you on the next one. This is a Tomahawk, and we're out of here.